morning, everyone. You're listening to Caregiver Crossing, a podcast brought to you by Joy's House. We're really blessed and thrilled that you're here. And just in case you don't know, Caregiver Crossing is a podcast that we created just for you, the caregiver. I'm Tina McIntosh.
And I'm Terry Stacy. We're here every week. We've got experts from across the country to provide comfort and resources to our caregivers. And this podcast really does serve to embrace family caregivers of today and tomorrow. So again, thank you all so much for being here.
All right. So I'm going to start us, Terry, by thinking about what if having your next meal delivery was not a matter of convenience, but of necessity? You know, so many of us have things door dashed or dropped off. And what if the case was, if you didn't get food delivered, you were not going to eat? Meals on Wheels serves 2.4 million people nationwide, 2.4 million people nationwide who are unable to purchase or prepare the food that they need. These are your loved ones. They're your parents, your grandparents, your neighbors in virtually every community in America that rely on these services to stave off hunger and isolation. So we're joined today by our friend Beth Gehlhausen, Executive Director of Meals on Wheels, Hamilton County, to learn more about how Meals on Wheels operates, what they're doing locally, and how you can get involved. So we're going to jump right in. Beth, hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're so glad that you're here. You know, we've got like 84 questions we want to ask you, so we're going to jump right in. But first of all, you know, I think people understand the general concept of Meals on Wheels, but if you were talking to a kindergartner, how would you explain to them what Meals on Wheels is and what it is that you do?
So basically simple. We're a program that helps people stay living in their own environment, their own homes for as long as possible, and stay as healthy as they can while they're doing that. So if by us delivering some hot meals 5 days a week, 3 days a week helps with that, that's what we're all about.
And then who qualifies, Beth?
So with our program, and I should say we're all independent, we don't work under any kind of umbrella. So we all have different qualifications, excuse me, and guidelines. For us in Hamilton County, we're really serving those who are struggling either physically or with a mental challenge, and that can be of any age, anywhere in Hamilton County. They qualify for our services.
All right. I remember in the olden days, prior to the pandemic, you know, that Hamilton County was put under a microscope with aging adults in particular. And a couple of big things came out of the studies. One was transportation was an issue for people. And two was that a lot of people were in these food deserts. And so, you know, when we think of Hamilton County, people sometimes get the wrong impression about the needs of people in that area. And I guess the big question you probably get is, well, why in the world wouldn't somebody be able to get their own food or prepare their own food?
Great question, Tina. Yeah, and particularly the farther north we go in the county, much more rural, much smaller communities. Sheridan, for example, has really struggled with that. They closed their main grocery store several years ago. And programs like ours, particularly for seniors, again, you said no transportation, we're still, olden days, we're still dealing with that. So we have a route that runs up there, and we drop off hot, cold, frozen meals to folks who can't get out and maybe who could if they had transportation. So it's not necessarily always just homebound folks, but yeah, it's an issue. So we can we're door to door. A hot meal comes to them about the same time every day. And that's a big deal. If they're struggling with weekend meals, we've got frozen meals and we deliver those on Friday mornings, every Friday morning. So our job is to help connect them with those healthy meals, as I said before. And we're starting to work more closely with our local food pantries for those additional meals. We're starting to expand some of our frozen meal options. We're working towards being able to do breakfast and that sort of thing. So yeah, there are people, all over the county that really struggle to get nutritious, any food, nutritious or not, to their door. Yeah.
Frozen meals is new to me because I always knew Meals on Wheels was, can you volunteer and do a lunchtime shift or an evening shift and bring them a hot meal? The frozen meal, that's new. But also I'm wondering about, so many people have these special dietary restrictions now.
Right.
And how is
Right.
that complicated, or how does that work with Meals on Wheels?
So for us, it is not complicated. Our meals come out of St. Vincent Carmel Hospital and Riverview Hospital. They both do, I want to say, 6 different dietary specialties, if you will, everything from renal to diabetic, obviously heart healthy. And those meals are by a doctor's order. So for us, we get somebody interested in our service. We send a script to their doc and they tell us, and we do that. And I'm smiling because, sometimes people don't like to tell us they're diabetic because maybe the food isn't as tasty. Maybe they're not getting that big serving of mac and cheese that I love, for example. So we're really focused on being able to provide that dietary, specific dietary need. And we've begun with our frozen meal partner, who is it's Trio out of Muncie. And we're actually providing pureed meals, frozen pureed meals. So that's kind of a new thing.
That's huge, Beth. Like, that's a big deal. Being in the industry of, aging adults, that is a really, really big deal. So congratulations and thanks for your leadership on that.
Thanks. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but we're chipping away.
So I'm going to ask a question I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to, but do you ever need volunteers?
Oh, Tina, sure we do. Absolutely. If we didn't have volunteers, we couldn't do it. There's 3 of us in the office, and while we're feel like we're pretty good at what we do, we're not that good. So we have 18 routes that go out every day, plus the extra 9 meals that go 9 routes. That go out on Friday mornings for the frozen meals. So yeah, we have about 500 active volunteers right now. And if you can say something good that came out of COVID was with the number of people home and wanting to do something and serve, we saw a boost over, it wasn't all at once, but probably over about a 9-month period, maybe 10 months, about 100 new volunteers. But we're always looking for volunteers because we just deliver at noontime, actually from 11 to about 12:30. So yeah, always having needs. We've got some folks who just sub, some people who want a regular route, some people who can do once a month, some people that want to do once a week. So we're working with folks. You call Tina and you say, hey, you know what, I'd love to do it. Okay, what's working for you? Which facility works better for you? And we're trying to figure that out with every single person that volunteers. So yeah.
I like that you're able to pick a day a month or a couple times a week, because as those gas prices start inching up closer to $4, I'm sure that's going to a gallon. I'm sure that's going to be a concern it concerns all of us, but especially for those of you that rely on people that drive a route.
Yes, and we haven't really felt that yet. I'm knocking on wood because I cannot tell you how dedicated our folks are, and that's not to say they're going to put themselves in a financial bind, but boy, we have some loyal folks who've been driving for us for years. So yeah, we're keeping an eye on it, but so far so good. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
So I think Terry and I have talked before about when Meals on Wheels or someone else is regularly checking on somebody, particularly who's shut in, what a difference that makes for them. I mean, I think, we can all wrap our head around what that is, but you talk about 500 plus volunteers. What does this do for them, like to the heart of your volunteers to go out and do what they're doing?
I'm not sure who benefits more, to be really honest with you. I mean, I know folks are getting food, so I understand, but at the same time, again, these people would not stay with us and be volunteering for the years that they have been. They get to know these folks, and we've really struggled, as you alluded to, with the crazy with COVID and now the gas prices, but we've really struggled with being able to continue to serve and have that contact. For a while, all we were doing is dropping meals off into a cooler with a cold pack in there, summer or winter, getting back in the car and making a phone call. Hey, Mrs. Jones, your meal's here. How you doing today? And it's been a real struggle for me because I don't like not having eyes on our folks. And I will tell you, it's getting better. We're still not doing we're not walking into people's homes. We're not doing close face-to-face, but we're now doing some chit-chatting between the storm door or at a bit of a distance for just a couple minutes. But I'll tell you, as recent as last week, we had somebody that we were very concerned about, some changes in them being able to get their meal out of their cooler. We were finding the meal there the next day, getting some confusion if we talked on the phone with her. She called our office over the weekend, a couple weekends ago, about 17 times. So we find out when we're delivering to her that next week, we talked to her daughter, and her daughter said, yep, I'll check it out. And between the time we talked to her and got there again, she was disoriented. She got up to come to the door and fell, and she's in the hospital. That's what we're there for. Not that we're, I don't want to give the impression we're trained to see medical kinds of things, but if you've been delivering to somebody for a while and you've conversed, you get a sense if they're feeling kind of off. I mean, you all do that even on the phone with friends. You can kind of tell when somebody's off. So that's a big part of what we do. And I know this is a long answer to a short question, but I can't stress enough the number of times we've come across somebody who has fallen or seems disoriented or is not answering the door, and their meals are in their cooler from yesterday, or in the case that happened just Monday, we had somebody who had frozen meals and their Friday hot meal and cold sack still in their cooler on Monday morning and no answer. That's scary. And so that's what we're there for too. Big deal for us. Wow. to be doing that check-in. Big deal.
Well, bless your hearts. You are amazing and have been amazing for a long time. Meals on Wheels. Everybody knows who you are. Beth Gehlhausen, Executive Director of Meals on Wheels in Hamilton County. Let everybody know how they can have access to your services, or how they can volunteer. How do they get in touch with you?
Sure. And I'm going to squeeze in one more quick thing. We do serve folks who are struggling financially and those who can fully pay for their meal. And we do have a program where we can subsidize meal costs. So please don't fall into the myth of, I have to be in some financial situation or something like that. We serve everybody. The idea is to keep people healthy, safe, and remaining in their home. For more information, you can certainly go to our website, which is www.mealsonwheelshc.org, or give us a jingle at 317-776-7159. Thank you all so much. This has been so much fun.
Tina, as we close the show, we want to remind all of our listeners that they can contact you for more information and resources to help you through the journey of caregiving. And they can do that by sending you an email at tina@joyshouse.org. And sponsors?
Well, yeah, we want to thank AARP. Our friends there are leading a revolution in the way people view and live life after 50. We love that they're working to empower people to choose how they live as they age. And we thank them for sponsoring and supporting Caregiver Crossing and Joy's House in general. So until next time, we ask that you take good care of each other, and we will see you here next week on Caregiver Crossing.